Hello everyone, today is the 19th of February 2020 and this is an update for Level Up Plan 2. I have been hard at work working on Level Up Plan 2 these past few weeks and I have a big update. I have done quite a lot. I've still got a long way to go. There's still got to do the menus, make them work. I've still got to do battles, make them work and all that sort of stuff. But for the most part, getting around the world map itself, and just general traversal is all sorted. And that is what I'm going to go through here. And I'm going to go through some of the mechanics. This interface here isn't completely updated. I am going to add a few little bits around the edges, but not much. But I want to take this time just to explain a few things of Level Plan 2. Right. So what we have here, and I'm not going to use the mouse cursor because for some reason my screen recording program has a bad tendency of freezing the cursor on screen, even though it's not there when I actually put the mouse there. So I'm not going to do that, but I'm just going to describe things to you. Right, so in the center we have your main character or your character icon, and this stone bit that you are on is the helipad, and that is like your base. Similar to how the pier is in the first game, this game has the helipad. Um, Surrounding you is grass, and as you can see, similar to with the first game, your line of sight is of equal size. You can only see 3 squares away from where you are, but not quite, because all of those little blinking squares around it, that's actually a fog of war, and you can unveil that by moving around. So if I move, as you can see, I'm actually clearing out the map so you can see. Of course, there's still an overall distance of how far you can see overall, but this game works with a fog of war situation where you move around, you unveil the map as you go. Um, as you can see, your character this time round has an arrow pointing, depending on which way you're facing. That's just to give you a bit of an easier time with navigating the world. And also to help you with navigating the world, because this world is much bigger than the first game, you can also plant flags by pressing Z. Now, as you can see, if I press Z here, I cycle through different flags. So if I go over here, I put a red flag there, I could put a blue flag there, and the different shapes as well. So you've got that green one with the 2 points, the yellow one with the 1 point, and then you've got the grey one with the flat point, and you press Z to cycle through them. So basically, those flags don't do anything apart from they act as sort of an indication to you. Like, you can use those flags to mean whatever you want them to mean. So say if you want the red flags to mean there's a dead end here, or you want to make a pattern to say, okay, wherever I put a blue flag next to a green flag, that means it's a current point of interest, or something like that. And the idea is for you to decide, it's just to give you that extra helping hand with navigation. And it puts a bit more of the responsibility in your hands as well, without having to, grab an extra bit of paper or whatever. Um, 2 bars at the side. Now, the left bar, the yellow one, that is your encounter rate. That is how frequently you will encounter battles, and you can toggle between different percentages. So if I press A and S, as you can see, there's 3 separate settings there where you can choose how likely you want encounters to be. Now you might look at that and think that's hardly any different at all, and you're right, but you can get things in the game that will give you the opportunity to make it go even higher or even lower. The bar on the right there, the pink bar, that is what I'm calling your, this is a stupid made up term, but because this game is themed on time, as you can tell by the clock in the logo, the pink bar represents what I'm calling chronometers, which is, of course, a mix of the word meter, as if to mean distance, and chrono, meaning time. And what that means is, the idea behind that is that when you're in this world, you have a limited amount of time, in quotes, time, that you can have a single run through before you have to walk back. And when your chronometers run out, you start with 100. So say if I move around, you can see that bar is dropping down because you start with 100, and as that drops down to 0, if I keep moving around, like just walking back and forth, you can see it dropping there. And when it gets to 0, as you will see, oh, you're frozen. You can't do anything. You've stopped. You've run out of chronometers. So then what you have to do is you have to warp. Now, in the first game, warp was a spell that you had to actually collect and accumulate, and it only had a certain accuracy. But in this game, it's just inbuilt to the basic system. Now, usually in the game, you would open up the menu, as I've got it here, and you would choose the warp option, but I've not implemented that yet. So I've basically set myself a hotkey just to demonstrate. So you warp and you head right back to the start and your chronometers refill. Now, you can't go very far with 100, but what you can do is if you explore more of the world, you'll find these things, which I am calling Chrono Facts. They are little collectibles, and every time you pick one up, it does like a little bleeping thing there. Bleep, because there's no sound in the game yet. Blip, blip. And every one of those will increase your maximum chronometer capacity by 1 point. So I've collected like 5 there. So if I warp, I'm back at 105 rather than 100. So you do actually have to spend some time collecting those in order to be able to... Oh, got a stupid notification at the bottom. You do have to actually collect those to be able to advance through the game even further than what you would. Especially if you end up getting lost, you're going to need more of them because it's going to take more steps. But of course, if you do run into dead ends and you do get lost and stuff like that, because you've unveiled the map as you're moving around here, it won't make as much of a difference. So, the idea is that you want to find dungeons. Now, bear with me 1 second. Right, okay. I have cut a bit of the footage there just to show you me being at a dungeon. Now, this is a dungeon. It's got a number on it, number 1, which means it's in quotes stage 1 of the dungeons. It has a little light that's turned off and a doorway. And the idea of the game is that there are all these dungeons scattered around the world, and there are keys inside each of the dungeon, and you have to go around and collect all of the keys. Now, if I go into the dungeon, yep, I'm into the dungeon, and as you can see, it's like a new map. So everything's new, all the fog of war is reestablished because this is a new area. And again, this all maintained. So say if I put like a blue flag here, and I walk up a bit, put a red flag there. If I leave, and then come back, let's see if I put a red flag, yeah, let's put some flags here. Go out. Yeah, everything maintains the same. And as you can see on the left hand side there, I've got where it says 1-Alphax. It's the first dungeon, Alphax. And there's a key in every dungeon, and the idea is you want to go around and find the keys in each of the dungeons. Now, I'm about to run out of steps, aren't I? Yeah. 1 second. Right, okay, I'm back at the dungeon. If you look at the display, if you look at the white border around the map there, if I leave, right, you can see the door that has that light on it that's turned off. That's what it is. If I go into the dungeon, that light is displayed at the top of the white outline, and that's to indicate that I don't have the key of this level of this dungeon. And if I do, once I do get the key, that light will start flashing. It will, as if to say, you've got the key of this map. And then when I leave, you will see it in front of the door just there to the dungeon. So that is the idea. There's all these dungeons scattered around the world, and your job is to go in and collect the key in every single dungeon, and that will progress the story. There is more of a story this time through, and there will be, in quotes, cutscenes, at least that's the plan, to have characters speaking to one another and all that. Whereas in the first game, it was just a backstory. This is a story sequel as well as just a game sequel. This does continue from the events of the first game. Now, I have shown before the menus here and how they look and everything, and you know, switching between characters and all that. I've shown that in a previous video, but now if I skip forward, well, of course I'm just using my hotkeys here. Keep messing up. Add a little bit more to the battle screen here. So this is what it's going to look like when you're in a battle. I've added a little bit more since last time, but not too much. But what you can see is that each character now has these bars underneath their sprite. And I'm going to explain a little bit about how the battle system is going to work. Because you have each character has their own health bar, which is the green one, the big one at the top. And then the two bars below there are your action charges. The blue one is a mana charge, and the white one is an attack charge. And the way that it works is that your characters will refill these bars over time. It'll fill the blue one up first, and then once that's filled, it will fill up the white one. The blue one will always take priority. The white one won't fill unless the blue one is filled. And so the battle starts, the blue bars fill up, and then the white bars fill up. And then whenever a white bar fills up, the character will automatically attack. But the blue bar is sort of like your mana in a way, and they won't go down until you use a spell. Now, every spell has its own charge, so you might have a healing spell and you might have no charges for it. But whenever the white bar fills, your character will do an attack, and that healing spell has a chance of recharging. And so that's how your characters sort of replenish their magic over time. It's by dealing these attacks that they will do automatically. But when you use a spell, you will use up the charge of the spell, and it will also cost, in addition to that, the full mana bar. So if you charge up your attack, the character will do an attack, and as the white bar is charging up again, during that time you can choose a spell to use. So say you choose like a healing spell. So you use the healing spell because you've gained a charge for it. You lose the charge for the healing spell, and the blue bar will completely diminish, and the white bar will freeze until the blue bar has regained full mana. So the idea is that if you could just leave your characters alone and they will continuously attack and attack and attack, but you're going to want to interrupt that with the different spells, because spells are going to be overall more powerful than their basic attacks. So that's how that is going to work. The advantage of this system, similar to with the first game, because with what I did with the first game, and what I was thinking about doing with this game, but decided not to exactly. What I did with the first game is I had it where you had one bar that just filled up, and you could accumulate several turns. So you could leave it for a while and then build up a lot of turns and then use them very quickly in succession. And it actually took a long time for that bar to fully fill. So you're always recharging. And this game is going to use that same system. That same sort of system where you are constantly recharging, even if you're not doing anything, even if you're leaving your characters mellow for a bit, they will keep attacking and they'll keep building up charges for their spells. And I think that's everything I've got to update you about. So yeah, I'm very happy with the way that it's looking. I'm very happy with the way that it's going. My current task that I'm dealing with at the moment is trying to get the menu set up, making it so that you can customize your characters, because there's going to be, whereas with the first game you just sort of accumulated spells, the customization in the first game wasn't so much about you going into the menu and setting things up. It was more about you deciding what to accumulate by where you're going and what enemies you're going to extract from. Whereas in this game, the customization is much more menu focused. You'll open up the menu and yeah, and you'll do stuff in here and equipping and unequipping stuff and all that. So yeah, uh, that's it. I've got to show you for Level Up Land 2. I'm really happy with it. So thank you for watching, and I will see you all next time.